Hey everyone! So, out of nowhere we got a Toy Story 4 clip on Good Morning America. And I'd say that this is our first glimpse at actual footage from the film. And I gotta say, what a magical feeling it is to see it. We get to watch Bo Peep in her classic outfit and even finally learn the names of her famous sheep. I know, I totally said in unison with Woody, they have names? Poor Woody and Bo, having to be in separate rooms as opposed to the first film, now that Molly's getting older. It just goes to show they aren't as close to each other as they might have been otherwise. It's so good to see RC, and of course you gotta save RC. If it wasn't for him, I'm not sure Buzz or Woody would even be here right now. They should be like, hey Jesse, did we ever tell you that story? Sorry, another time, we gotta focus. And hey, it's Barbie from Toy Story 3, long before she met the love of her life, Ken, alongside two other Barbies. It's a set of three, much like those three Barbie backup singers for Wheezy at the end of Toy Story 2. But they're not the same ones. Now, obviously, this is a flashback scene taking place in Molly's room, and it may very well be the flashback scene. The one Laurie Metcalf, voice of Andy's mom, talked about in an interview, saying that it's at the very beginning of the film, and it made her cry. That makes me think that this whole sequence we're seeing here is gonna lead straight into us seeing just how Bo got separated from the gang. Did this rescue mission maybe go horribly wrong and leave Bo stuck outside herself? I don't think so, since after all, let's not forget, in Toy Story 3, Woody grouped Bo in with a list of good toys have gone on to new owners.
Even Bo. All good toys who've gone on to new owners.
So what happened to her? Well, before I can deduce more about that, I want to get a better sense of when exactly this scene takes place in the timeline. Yeah, it's clearly between Toy Story 2 and 3, but how old are the kids at this point? We can see that Molly's hung up some crayon drawings that she presumably drew herself, and oh, she did an excellent job, they look great. They're not scribbles either, so she's not that little still. She drew the sun and some squares. And according to Cheryl Wu, MD, as quoted on Parents.com, by 4 years of age, you can draw a square. So that's a helpful hint right there. Unless Molly's some sort of artistic prodigy, she's probably at least about 4 years old. And we see some other background toys that seem to be geared towards younger children. But there's some specific background characters that I think could give us a bit more of a definitive answer of when this takes place. Take a look at Molly's equivalent to Andy's Troikas, a set of toys that gets bigger and bigger, or, well, smaller and smaller depending on your perspective. We can see there's 5 of them total, all numbered accordingly, 1 to 5. Now, these toys could just be a set of 5 whose designers for whatever reason decide to obnoxiously plaster their numbers on them, or more likely perhaps some sort of teaching tool to convey the size of these small numbers. But they could also be a decorative commemoration and indication of Molly's age at the time of this scene, meaning that Molly would be 5 years old. Now, I can't find any official confirmation on how old she was in Toy Story 3, but her voice actress, Bea Miller, would have been 11 when the film came out. So let's just average that out to 10 and estimate Molly is 10 in that film. Since Andy is 17 in Toy Story 3, that would put him at 12 years old in this scene. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's not too long after Toy Story 2, and still a ways off from 3. Things probably haven't changed too much for the toys yet. I'd say that Andy is just starting to play with the toys a little less, although I bet Woody's still in a state of denial about it. Now, this musical score is most likely temp, since I don't think that Randy Newman has done a full orchestra recording for the film yet. Although, hey, Lee Unkrich used his temp score in Toy Story 3. But appropriately, in any case, in it we hear a reprise of the music that played in Toy Story 2 when Andy's mom went looking for toys to put out in the yard sale.
You have names? You never told me that.
You never asked.
Where is he?
You could also call this the beginning of the end for the toys. At that point, Woody was determined to rescue Wheezy and bring him back to Andy's room, whereas by the time we get to Toy Story 3, so many toys have left the room, they sadly just couldn't help it anymore. It was a pretty drastic shift in between films. Here though, it looks like we're still in that stage of the toys' lives that they're actively trying to protect each other. But troublingly, it started to become a routine for them. Woody just went on his own completely impromptu mission to go help Wheezy back in 2, whereas here, they've got a codename Operation Pull Toy, which is just one of who knows how many rescue plans for various situations that they have in their back pocket, and everyone is just perfectly rehearsed and able to spring into action. How often has this been happening? And how did RC get left out there? Did he just get tired of being kept inside all the time since he wasn't getting played with, but then got stuck out in the rain? Did Andy's mom leave him on the curb to get picked up by the garbage man? Or, heaven forbid the thought, was Andy just getting kind of careless at this age? We know that when Woody reunites with Bo Peep in Toy Story 4, she's been living life without an owner, and that's apparently by choice. A choice that really has the potential to broaden Woody's perspective of what it means to be a toy. And if Andy did carelessly leave RC out in the rain, maybe Bo was starting to get annoyed at this kind of behavior from him. Does he want them or not? He's been playing with them less and less, but Woody just keeps making excuses for him. And it'll only be a matter of time until Molly's the same way. Especially once she gets that iPod they keep advertising on the TV. Maybe Bo doesn't want to live the rest of her life like this, but she knows that Woody and the gang would never just let her leave. They care about her too much. Andy owns her, and Woody's somewhat possessive of her, but she's over the idea of any kind of ownership in general at this point. So what can Bo do? Well, it's not an easy decision by any means, but let's say she hatches a little plan for herself. Since Andy leaving the toys outside has seemingly become something of a common occurrence, there is a precedent for it, which leaves the door wide open for her to stage her own loss and make it look like her disappearance is some sort of mysterious accident. In the process, maybe Woody could have caught her before she fully went through with it, or maybe he didn't. Either way, Woody becomes privy to the fact that Bo has left, she's gone, and he doesn't want everyone else to A, worry about her, or B, think that they have a shot at making it on their own too. Since not only is that disloyal to Andy, that's a delusion of grandeur. As an old prospector once said, it's a dangerous world out there for a toy, and he doesn't want anyone else he loves to be in harm's way. So what can Woody do but cover it up and say he saw Bo get sold at a yard sale or given away after a spring cleaning? Meaning that not only does he think Bo may very well be essentially dead, he has had to carry that weight alone for years, never being able to tell the truth and confide in anyone. And even when it comes up years later, he has to have a cheery disposition, falling back on the story he's told the other toys for years, and the story that he wishes he could believe himself.
All good toys who've gone on to new owners.
Alright, I think I extrapolated quite a bit from this 30-second clip. I'm getting kinda out there, I know, but hey, I can dream, can't I? Speculation is part of the fun. So what do you think is going on in this clip? Will they save RC? When is it taking place? How old were you when you started drawing squares? And how do you think Bo Peep is going to get separated from Woody and the gang? I'd love to hear your answers to all of these questions. See you next time, everyone.